Okay, so in here we're gonna talk about the information that you need, where to find that information, how to evaluate your sources, and how to keep track of your sources. Because since you're gonna have a lot of sources, you need to keep track of them, right? Okay, so let's review first the information that you need, right? So you need data about your issue, you need data about the population that is being affected by your issue, and this is not limited to age, color, ethnicity, education level, socioeconomic status. Then we have the Erickson stages. Remember, there's a minimum of 2 Erickson stages, right? Then we have the pros and cons, and it's minimum 2 of each. Remember, Megan said 2 was the magic number. Can you all see? Sí, okay. Then you need legal cases. There's no limit for legal cases. It can be as long as you list one, we're fine. Then we need your ethical implications, your current status, the role of the healthcare professional. And remember, we discussed that it's the healthcare professionals that are relevant to your issue, right? So for example, when we talk about the physician-assisted suicide, right? We talk about the nurses, about the physicians, but when it came to the electronic health records, it's gonna be everybody, right? The administration, the nurses, the doctors, the physical therapists, everyone. Then you need 2 position statements, right? Two for everything. Okay, so let's continue. So where are you gonna find this information, guys? Like, I'm pretty sure you have find some, but like I made like a little table. And for the journals, you're mainly gonna go for the databases, right? And Google Scholar. We all know Google Scholar, right? Yes. Okay, so Google Scholar is gonna give you journals, it's gonna give you scholarly sources, and it's like it's the easiness of Google, but like giving you scholarly sources. For the position statements, it's gonna be Google. It's just Google, guys. Like when I first started working here, they told me like, oh, we need like position statements from healthcare organizations. And I was like, where are we gonna get those? And they were like, oh, just Google it. So just put like name of the healthcare organization. But we're gonna talk more about. I'm getting ahead. You can get into the healthcare organization website. You can get into a class lib guide. For the legal cases, I mentioned the O'Neill Institute Healthcare Litigation Tracker because it tracks some of the issues. If not, you can get into some government websites. For the data on issues, you're gonna use the journals, professional. So let's keep in this in mind, professional and related organization websites, right? We cannot use whatever website. Do you have any questions so far? Then you can use newspapers, you can use government articles. And for APA, we're not gonna worry about APA right now. I don't wanna hear like, oh, what about APA? APA is at the very end, okay? APA is next week. We're gonna start worrying about that until the end. But if you need help with that, is the Owl Purdue and the Writing Center class lib guide. And I made a resource for you, and I'm gonna give you to you at the end. But yeah, this is where you can find your information mostly. So now let's talk about position statements. I told you last time, position statements, usually they don't come with the same names, right? Sometimes they have different names, and that is okay. Don't worry about it. It doesn't have to be word by word the same thing. But you have to keep in mind, it has to be a synonym, right? We're not gonna play funny. So let's say your topic is, should physician-assisted suicide be made legal? So if you insert healthcare organization in here, you can get a position statement about your issue under a different name. But where can we find the healthcare organizations? Do you know where to find healthcare organizations? No, can you name one right now? The NAA, right? Okay. Yay. Good for him. Okay. See, so NAA, right? Well, you can find a list of healthcare organizations in the class lib guide. So the librarian was so nice and she made a whole class lib guide for you guys, and it's full. I haven't even visited before this like semester, and I feel bad because she put a lot of information there. So look, you only look for EPCC libraries. You go to the library, then you go to library research guides, but you can access the online databases there. And then you go all the way down to nursing. And in there, you're gonna find the LibGuide from your class and the LibGuide from the Writing Center. And I put you in the resources sheet and I'm gonna give you. And look, there's even one that says position statements. So you go in there and it lists some, right? It lists the NAA, the American Nursing Association, but it even has like one that has like a big list. Look, so let's see. Look, from A to C, all called healthcare organizations, right? And I made a QR code. and it's gonna be over here as well. Look, I made like a lot of QR codes. I love QR codes. I hope you too. Pero yeah. So yeah, the librarian was nice enough, and she compiled a lot of healthcare organizations for you. Okay, so I'm gonna go next. Okay, so now that you know where to find the healthcare organizations, let's continue with example, right? So we'd say, so look, he gets the organization that I choose because it's the most common one, right? It's the NAA. So they have a position statement about this issue, but it's under medical aid in dying. It's not physician-assisted suicide. Do you think you can use that one? Yes, right? Yeah, we can use it because it's not the same thing, it's not the same wording, but it's the same issue topic, right? It's the same thing, medical assistant and physician assistant, right? So keep that in mind. It's not always gonna come under the same name, but it's still useful for you. Okay, so where can we find the organization list? Where? In the class left guide. Okay. Muchas gracias. Thank you for your participation, guys. Yay. Okay, so now this is the most important part, guys. You're gonna see how can you evaluate your sources, right? Because remember, you have controversial topics. Controversial topics, they're gonna have a lot of opinions right there. And when I tell you, when you do research, you have to read strategically, right? So I'm the kind of person that wants to read everything. Like now that I'm doing homework and everything, like I feel like I need to read every single thing, but this is, I mean, if we have the time, yeah, we will read everything, right? But right now you're in a busy schedule, you're doing your preceptorship, you don't have time. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna read strategically. So when you read strategically, you're gonna start by reading the abstract. So the abstract is just a small summary of the whole journal. This is gonna tell you the methods, the results, the conclusion, everything. It's just like a small summary. And if you like it, if you like the abstract and you say like, okay, this can be for me, you're gonna go to the next one. You're gonna go to the introduction, and this is gonna be the why, the purpose of the article. So here you're gonna get a little more clues in if this journal is gonna work for you. And in here, in the introduction, you can also find data for your issue, right? You can find like how many people have been affected by it, or like what have been the advances so far. So if you like that, you go to the next one. There's gonna be the discussion, or sometimes it's called the analysis. And this is gonna discuss the main points or the main highlights or findings of the journal. So this is like the meat, right? Then you're gonna go to the conclusion. So the conclusion is just like the final thoughts, and in here you can find maybe something for your current status. Because remember, for current status, we talk about like the future, what is gonna happen in the future. So maybe you can find a little of that information in the conclusion, like what have they discovered and what do they think there's gonna happen. Because just like you guys, they're writing like a research paper, so they need to see what is gonna happen in the future. Also, when you read it strategically, you're gonna skim, but you're gonna pay attention to certain stuff, right? You're gonna pay attention to the subheading, right? Because this is the subheading. This is not the title. This is the section, and then this is the subheading. And then you're gonna pay attention to the keywords, right? The keywords are gonna tell you what this article is mainly going to talk about. And this one is for cancer and opioids, because I remember it was opioids as a first line of treatment. So yeah, make sure that you look at it. Then you're gonna pay attention from the figures, right? This is from one of the paid for performance, and it's gonna tell you like, because within the images there's data, right? So this one is explaining like after the first evaluation how much money they received because they met this pay for performance status or things, right? So yeah, so you can extract information from the figures, so pay attention to them. And the same thing from tables, right? And this is a table of like what analgesics they used to take these cancer patients before starting to take this opioid. So don't disregard the tables, pay attention to them. Okay, footnotes, guys. So the footnotes are very important. So let's say you're reading, right? And then you pay attention. So for example, in this one, the pain tends to get worse at the majority of cancer patients with pain will respond to opioid therapy, right? So you want to see that one. You want to see like, oh, what is going on? Like, I'm more interested in reading this, or maybe this can give you more information for your research paper. So you're gonna click on it, and sometimes it comes as a little box, or sometimes it comes like this. If not, you go to the very bottom and you're gonna find the little number, right? So in here it's two. So make sure you pay attention to those. Okay, so part of reading strategically is not wasting your time with unreliable sources, right? So what sources can be unreliable? .coms? Yeah, .coms are unreliable, right? Okay. So Ivania, I don't know went there first, but okay. Yeah. So .coms, right? We have, for example, Wikipedia. We have WebMD, but there's more, even more, right? So you said .coms, right? So I just want to show you here. In here, this is another thing, but it's like a comment, right? So this is the media bias chart, and it's telling you like if they go to the left or to the right, if they have like thorough information or if it contains fabricated information. So for example, in here, like selective, incomplete, unfirm persuasion, and then you can see the Joe Rogan podcast, right? And you're not gonna use the Joe Rogan podcast, but like just for you to consider, since you're talking about controversial issues, for example, let's say Planned Parenthood, in vitro fertilization, gender transitioning, there's a lot of people, there are a lot of stakeholders in those kind of issues. So everybody's gonna put their, pues sí, cada quien va a meter su cuchara, ¿verdad? And they're gonna say what they wanna say. So make sure that when you are reading, you are trying to see who is unbiased and who is not. So let's say, for example, we're gonna use the CRAP test. What do you think CRAP stands for? What do you think? Each letter stands for something and is for you to test if that source is reliable. So what do you think? At least one letter. Correct? No, but I mean, pues no, pero bueno, we'll see. Pero yeah, it sounds funny, but yeah, it's a real thing. Okay. So yeah, I already got you. Oops, but see the CRAP test. So CRAP stands for currency, relevance, authority, accuracy, and purpose. So these are the things that you're gonna pay attention when you look into these websites, right? Porque les digo, cada quien mete su cuchara y cada quien tiene su opinión. So let's see. So when you look for currency, like when was this information published, right? But you also have to pay attention because you need 4 sources that are within the 5 years. Has the information been revised or updated? Are your sources current? So make sure that you, when you're reading this, keep these questions in mind. Then you have relevance. Does this information relate to your topic, guys? Because sometimes we have articles and sometimes they are talking or trying to sell us something and they are talking mostly about a product and not about your issue. Would you be comfortable citing this source in your research paper, right? Would you cite the Joe Rogan podcast? Of course not, right? So we're not gonna cite WebMD as well or Wikipedia. So think about that. Who is the author? Authority, right? Who is the author? Who is the publisher? Who is the source? Who is the sponsor? Because everybody, like, let's go, everybody has an intention and they're gonna make it through. And this is where the organization, the author's credentials or organizational affiliations. For example, let's say, right, you find an article about Planned Parenthood, and the person who wrote it is the president of Mothers Against Abortion. What do you think that's gonna say? It's gonna be biased, right? So is the author qualified to write on this topic, right? So just make sure, like, if you don't want to look anything in the website or anything, just look at the author. That is the most important one. And also, what does the URL reveal, right? Because you told me it's .com, it's a commercial sites. So let's try to see like the edu or the gov. Look, the NHS is Health Information Services in the UK. So make sure to pay attention because it can reveal a lot. Then we go into accuracy. Where does the information comes from? Does the information is supported by evidence? Does the language or tones is unbiased or free of emotion? So make sure that when you're reading it, you can kind of get the intention of the person. And the purpose. What is the purpose of this information? Is it to sell? Is it to teach me something? Is it to inform me? Is the information fact, opinion, or propaganda? That is very important, guys. Like, just make sure that, like, when you're reading something, it's all about facts and it's not an opinion or it's trying to sell you something. Does the point of view appear to be objective and impartial? Are there political, ideological, cultural, or religious, institutional, personal biases? So try to keep all of this in mind when you're doing your research for the websites. Okay, so do you have any questions so far? Okay, nice. So let's continue. So, okay, so this is another important part, guys. How to keep track of your sources, because this is a research-heavy assignment. So you're gonna have to have a lot of journals. You're gonna read a lot of journals, and yeah. So how do you plan to keep track of your sources, guys? What are you doing so far? Those who already started your research, you're reading it. Okay, that's good. That's a good way. What else? Bueno, pues, guys, if you don't wanna answer that. But yeah, les digo, it has happened to me too. I read a lot of journals, we read a lot of articles and book chapters, and we're like, oh yeah, I found a really good like something, I find a really good quote, and then I'm like, but what in that 10 articles that I read is that quote? And you never know, and like you have to look through it, and then it's not even in the same word. And you spend like 15 minutes, and then that quote never existed. It was a thing of your imagination. So make sure, I'm going to give you some tracking tips. So if you find a journal article that could work for your essay, download it immediately. Just download it so you don't lose it, because sometimes I think we're changing databases. So I think that EBSCO, there was one student that came that couldn't find any of the links, and that's because we're changing from EBSCO to another database. So make sure that if you find something that you like, just download it. If you find a quote in a journal article that can work for your essay, highlight it, guys. Like highlight it, just mark it. And if you find a quote in a journal article that you think is like for this specific session, that is like, oh my God, I can use this for my pros, or I can use this for my cons, or for my current status, label it, guys. Label it. And I know someone was saying that they didn't want to print the articles, because I know it's a lot of printing. Pero you can do it like for IELTS, you can open the PDF with the preview app, and then you can click on the markup button that I think it's over here. Look, is that one? And then you can highlight with that thing, and then also you can make scribbles. I think there's gonna be, look, you can highlight with that. And what else? Where's the text? Oh, here. You can add comments as well. Look, you're gonna add another comment. So you can do that, guys. You can do that in your computer as well. Make sure that you mark it, porque les digo, I've been reading so much, and I was like, yeah, I can use that quote. And then I never find that quote again. So yeah, seize the moment. So look, very important idea. And for the other one, for Windows, what I do is I open it with the Microsoft Edge. Do not open it with the Acrobat, because the Acrobat, I don't think it lets you mark it up. So make sure that you open it with the Microsoft Edge. And look, you can highlight over there with this button, and you can also put text over here. So look, you can annotate as well. And I think in the example, I put like, oh, I should use this for current status. So make sure that you do that, guys, that you mark it and everything, because right now you're reading a lot, and then you're gonna get like lost. Okay, so for your tracking options, you have several options that we have seen through the years. So I'm gonna present you this, right? So the crazy one is you just mark the information that is not yours, so we know that you're not plagiarizing, so you remember, because sometimes you write up like, that was such a good sentence. I was like, oh no, I copied that one. So make sure that you mark it down, and then you can put the link over there, right? So just do it. Just put something, and then just put the thing. Or you can just do the normal one. There's kind of like that Chicago style that you can put like mark that information and put a number 1. And in a separate page, you can put the link, right? So make sure that you do it. If not, you can do the fancy one, and the fancy one is kind of the same thing. The only thing is that you add the last name and the year, because sometimes when you do medical journals, sometimes they have like similar names, or they're the same author as well from the same year. So make sure, like, and this one can give you an extra step ahead for when we do AP. But right now, do not worry about AP. If you don't find the year, don't do it. Just put the author, put anything if you want to be fancy, okay? But if not, like, just whichever, just as long as you keep track of them. You can do the tech one, right? Where you find an article and then just put it like, you can make like a folder in your Google Chrome, and you can bookmark it, right? And then there you can put like, oh, like the author or whatever, or the name of the article. If not, just keep track of your sources, guys. Just keep track and put them in a Google or in something somewhere. You know what I mean? Just put it, because I'm telling you guys, you're gonna find so much stuff, and then you're gonna be like, I don't know where it is. I don't know where it went. So make sure that you track it, okay? And yeah, do the survey, and yeah, if you can do the survey, and that's all the information that I have for today, guys. And I'm gonna give you this. So thank you, guys, and then let's go. And if you need help with the source evaluation, you can go to the writing center as well. We can overlook them. And the librarian is really nice too. And I think if you have something that is not within the 5 years, the librarian can approve it for you. So yeah, guys, that's it for today. Thank you, guys. Thank you.